Greetings, everybody! Welcome to Dracovin Empire! Are you ready to dive back into the world of Golarion, the setting for the Pathfinder role-playing game system? If you are, prepare yourself. I, your host and guide here, will be opening up the gate to portal us in to Golarion again, to Tian Xia in the country of Lingshen. If you're ready to join me and go to this interesting country, grab my hand. Remember, as your host and guide, I do require a little bit of a tip. It would be nice. Subscribe to the bell and let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Let us go through the gates to Lingshen. Hurrah! We arrived. Fortunately, Lingshen's not the most dangerous place. Not in all of Tian Xia or all of Golarion, certainly speaking. So be on your best behavior here. We do have a strict way of doing a lot of things, and I wouldn't want to get in trouble with any of the authorities or the military. Just say this. Be on your best behavior. Now, if you do want to dive into some further research, beyond just what we're going to be talking about today, 2 books. Dragon vs. Gazetteer, and of course, the Tian World Guide, the one that I love it. What is Lingshen? It is, of course, a successor state to the Imperial Langlois. Hey, Imperial Langlois! We're talking about Tian Xia, we're talking about Langlois, we're talking about their collapse. Yeah. It is sometimes said to be the greatest of the successor states, though there are others within the successor state that would argue this point. But nonetheless, it's got a hereditary monarchy, which kind of is a mess. We'll talk about it all. It's a little bit of a mess on the hereditary monarchy point, but that's technically what it is. Got humans, Tsumi, Nagashi, Tengu. Its capital is Ziwu. Currently, the throne stands empty. Talk about it. But Abadar, Biori, Heifang, Yazing are major religions. Religion isn't so much a major part that we're going to dive about it today, but just as a mention. And they're good with armor, weapons, ceramics, livestock, ore, produce, seafood, and stone. Let's talk about the history of Lingshen. And to talk about the history, we have to talk about this man here, Wang Xizin. Basically, Lingshen is a nation of proud warriors, and has a deep warrior tradition within it. What the hell was that? This is the former king, Wang Xizin. He made Lingshen powerful and feared after the fall of the Langlois. He had 11 children, and ruled over the land with military might and absolute certainty that he would win the day. But he's gone, and things are not what they seem anymore. So, yeah. We don't know about a lot of the deep history and deep culture this side of things. It's sort of like, we know this formed as a successor state post Langlois. We know that the capital is renowned for its military stronghold. We know that military religious tradition lines basically are the fracture of the empire. This was a core of Langlois. The military faction of Langlois formed this nation. So, perhaps to know more about this region's culture in history, we'd have to talk about Langlois. Not getting into that today, that's its own video to talk about the Imperial Langlois. But just know, this is born out of it. This guy's dead. Sort of. Basically, he had his children compete during his entire time of his rule, see who would be strongest, who would replace him after his death, have them compete with each other, fight with each other, try to murder each other. Yeah. His heirs continue to fight now. They don't have a single strong leader. And basically, he set up a test for his children that none would pass. This magical keystone that they had to use no magic and just their basically strength to move, that's tied to the nation, placed in the center of Ziwa, in the palace there, and none could move it. Yeah. We'll talk about this man some more, because there is some more details to his existence after this. But, yeah. He's not gone, and his influence isn't. Here's the city. But the city country. It's the central west region of Tian Xia. It's got a lot of prominent nations around it. Kaoling, Songbai, Shimen, Holi, Quain. It's basically in a very central region. So, Sea of Eels nearby, Sea of Ghosts, the Suma River, Black Pine River, the Wall of Heaven. Its eastern region is Danjing, where there's a giant crystal pillar that predates Tian history, that no one can figure out, no one discovered the mystery for, no one can break the crystal, and it's impenetrable. It's just mysterious in there. It's a thing over near Danjing. In the north is the Heisong Forest, and there's pines, fragrant air. A lot of the craft people and lovers of trees in the nation go there, Tengu and Kitsune. Basically, the Heisong Forest is the place where a lot of their most skilled architecture comes from. It's also got a lot of artists there. Music, poetry, paints. Lingshen loves calligraphy. It's said that the people here spread that love of calligraphy as an art form to the people of Lingshen. And if someone tries to build a castle here, oh no! The local artists just keep them out, but they have done so with basically beautiful art and reasoning. It's a less fortified region. It's really great here, but basically natural threats and very powerful magic users keep this place safe. So it's sort of like, in most areas, you don't have to worry about the army. If you go to Heisong Forest, you have to worry about beasts, wild animals, and magic nuking you. The place is still technically defended fairly well. Let's talk about their cities. This is a very good picture of basically the capital, Zibu. It's a fortified city, crowned with towers, and several ringed districts, each requiring passage through massive gates. The most famous district is its 1,000 gables, whose roofs are designed to link together to allow water to run off so people can walk without fear of getting wet in all but the most severe storms. And it stays cool and shady in the sunny, which they've got sweltering summers, welcome during. It also has the Heron Bridge, one of the largest wooden bridges in Tianzi, and an architecture marvel of the continent, with clever joints and machinery that allow the bridge to fold up like a heron's leg in the event of floods, invasions, or crises. Other places to mention, not a city, I'll mention the rest of the cities, is Cinnabar Market, a market known for its crimson stone that enables the spirits of the Languanese people, is emblematic of the spirit of the people. It's the pride of the merchants working in the stalls, a badge of their spirit. And it has two purposes: a market for raw goods and specialty wares, and a place for thieves, assassins, forgers, and other rogues to have secret meeting places. That's Cinnabar Market. Now, there are some other cities that we know the names of. Not a lot about them, but there's some issues with them. The only one that we don't have an issue with is Heisong from Dragon Empire's Gazetteer, which is a metropolis with about 133,000 people. Ziwa has about 206,000 people. So it's the second largest city in the region. And then there's 4 cities. There's Ajing and Anjing. One has an H, one has an N. And Danjing and Danjin. These are differences between the Dragon Empire Gazetteer and TMZ World Guide, and I'm not going to say we don't have clarification that one's just a changed spelling of the other in any of these cases, or like misspelling from one to the other, or if they are different places. Yet, Danjin is supposed to be a metropolis with nearly 100,000 people. Danjing is in the eastern reaches of Lingshen, and is the place where there's the big crystal. Are they the same place? Who knows? And then Jing, with an H, has about 61,000 people as metropolis, where Anjing is the southeastern Heisong Forest. And it was cited one of the challenges of the Tianzi zodiac hero Tian Xia. Who knows? Clarification would be great. We haven't gotten it. But those are what we know about the cities. Who's in charge? Well, this is one of our nice emperors, Huang Shijing's daughters. But we still have to come back to King Huang Shijing, because he's both dead and not dead. What do I mean by that? Well, he had a final plan. When he died, he had his soul put into a special construct body that was prepared using advanced magics of his wizards. In order to retain most of his personality and intelligence, basically he wanted to do that with an immortal body of an unstoppable construct. Awesome. This feat was seemingly impossible, but he basically was able to get an application of Sun Orchid Elixir, the elixir that can increase lifespan, to his body, moments before death. That kept his revigoration strong enough and focused enough to transplant to a new vessel. So he wants to lift the keystone with his new strength and prove that he is the strongest of his bloodline and deserves to be king once again. But his strong mind has been twisted by the process, and now his ambitions are, instead of just ruling Lingshen, to basically become, as a true immortal, rule Lingshen forever and supplant the Eternal Emperor. Yeah. So it's a thing. And the Eternal Emperor is the name of a, basically, philosophy in Lungwa. It's an idea. So, basically, he wants to have Lungwa come back. I think that's the easy way of saying it. He wants Lungwa to return, the Empire to return. He will now rule the new Lungwa. He's gathering power, planning for a grand rebirth, proving his reign has been favored by the heavens, and so he's looking for the day of the solar eclipse as a time to reveal himself. And he's instructed his operatives among former and active members of the military to gather a faction of super loyal soldiers that follow him beyond death. Which makes sense for the military. We'll have to talk about it before we end the day in the society, but in the Eternal Army. So he's still around, technically. So, his children. Let's talk a little bit about them, because we do have to mention he's got 11 of them, 9 of which still are within Lingshen. We've moved on. But for those that are within Lingshen, there are a bunch that are important to the government, because currently speaking, how the government's been working, without the king around, is that chancellors, envoys, and courtiers basically keep any issue from becoming large enough that they need a royal decree. When they need a royal decree, things go bad. Why? Because the heirs have to make a vote. The 9 of them vote on something. Every vote can be difficult because they're all competing to rule the nation. It can be fractious, worse. They can fight over the power that causes this. So, chancellors work out any issues they can, spend state funds freely to allow important matters to be quickly dismissed. It's a state which anything can be accomplished if done quietly. And if you fail to properly disguise or diminish the issue, you're probably going to be treated poorly by the royal heirs. Interestingly enough, even though it's coming to them. So Huang Rufei, the Shining Star, is an unmatched general, Periel's absolute ruthless fighter. Basically acted on her father's command, has fought against her siblings, knows all their strengths. But they all know that if she wins, the military one, it all means their defeat. So every time she comes close to basically taking over the nation, they team up against her. Another one of her siblings is Huang Jiwang, the cunning spider, as he's known as. Basically, he can tell someone exactly what they want to hear. But only once he wants something. He's a strategist, but refuses to go to war in person. Assassins, many sent by his own siblings, have attempted to kill him, only to find they're confronted by bizarre circumstances. A belt falls off, the dropping of a poison blade on the floor, crossbow bolts head them blunted. The garrote gets snagged inside a pouch. Something is a sorcerer or has some kind of spirit protecting him. Huang Yinho basically is someone that's been faced a lot of problems with royalty. She managed to survive the bite of a poisonous spider in the cradle. Now she's around 16, and she survived her childhood, but she's been keeping her younger siblings, the 3 of them, alive. All of them still fall to the influences of her siblings, especially when they want things done and voted upon in certain ways, and she doesn't get the love and respect that she shows to these younger siblings, but yeah. The other few important people we have to talk about are 3 others we should probably mention. First is a necromancer in the Cradle of Immortality, Lao Chong, the old worm, basically responsible for bringing the construct soldiers of Lingshen to life. We haven't talked about them, saving that when we're talking about the people, but when we talk about them, and these terracotta soldiers that come to life, using the souls of dead soldiers, Lao Chang's behind it. No one knows his true identity. The king used oracles, never found it out. But he uses a lot of magic, and he uses a very powerful magic to capture the souls of Lingshenese soldiers. Basically, the soldiers swear an oath to the crown. They're pricked with a needle that bears a single drop of blood. And then Lao Chong takes this blood and uses it to bind their souls to the constructs upon their death. So he's in his laboratory below the Cradle of Immortality, calmly taking pins one by one, casting spells, catching souls. And every year a few souls go missing. Record keepers can tell. They say nothing. They say nothing. Li Mingxian served as Lingshen's engineering college for a number of years. A lot of their engineering was used in military applications. They never had their intentions. So they decided that Lingshen must fall. So they're working with partners in Goka and Songbai to share information on weakness on Lingshenese designs. Weakness that they ensure are propagated throughout siege equipment likely to be deployed. So basically, someone who wanted to use their engineering skills for good has been using it for military uses and really doesn't like it, and pisses them off. And finally, we do have to talk about the king of Cinnabar Market themselves, Shan Ziming, a Nagaji assassin who has an understanding of poisons more than any other, and has strong connections with the merchants of Cinnabar Market. Every merchant there owes something to Ziming. So he moves around with it work. So those are our important figures in the nation. There are some other children that we know a lot about. Again, we know about 5 of them that are still the 3 younger siblings, the one that's looking after, the 6 of them. Okay. 6 of the 9 we know a little bit about that are remaining in the nation. Let's talk about people and their culture. So, it's a nationalistic nation. But also, they are quick to challenge. Basically, common mishaps like jostling a stranger can lead to hostile exchanges that seem very hostile to an outsider. Raised voices, aggressive posture, strong eye contact are typical. But these rarely become serious. They're moments of challenge and response, basically showing respect to those that display confidence and wit. This makes the people seem volatile, but it's unlikely to deal with anything violent. Duels are rituals with weight and significance, and only serious offenses resolve in duels. More commonly, if you don't hash something out, you would have contests of wrestling, archery, maybe even calligraphy. Basically, skill is prized, and if you have a chance to show it off, you take it. Now, there's a lot of common professions in life, a lot of laborers who wake up at dawn, work till the evening. They're not paid attention to. And they do their best to not be paid attention to by nobles or warriors alike. They're paid in scrip or company money whenever possible. But, legally, this compensation must have a value in Linganese coin. Wealthy property and asset owners use gold as currency, and wealthier sculptors and potters will use bronze coins. At a young age, you're a Lingonese, you train. Train how to wrestle, hold a spear, shoot a bow. If you have a little bit of resources, you learn horse ride. On 13, that's if you're interested in military service, you can. You join the ranks, either the common ranks of military service, where you receive state lodging and daily training, or you could join a military academy for more specialized service. The academies are intended for officers focused on tactics. Specialty schools focus on particular aspects of war. Magic and siege engines, particularly common. Rarer institutions actually do with spy work, assassinations, and infiltration. Yes, you can find academies on those. And there's at least one academy that specializes in developing assets, specialized assets that can blend in with people of other lands, teaching dialects, dress, and specific regional specialties. They have a spy school. Infiltration spy school. They have one. Officer ranks aren't just for those who attend academy. Basically, they do provoke from within. For you to become an officer, if you're a soldier, basically a commander has to recognize your skill and dedication. There are competitions for this, trials that are held to show off this. These trials are usually held at least once a moon, and they can be wrestling, spear fighting, archery. Wrestling will pit you against others. Spear and archery are practiced against targets. If you score enough points, they'll allow you to basically show off horseback riding, usually riding from a fixed course. You can avoid obstacles, shoot arrows while maintaining high speed. If you're a mid-rank officer having one of these trials, you have to compete with another mid-rank officer. Basically, unseat your opponent from a horse using wrestling, sword fighting, or archery. If you're using the latter two blunted weapons, of course, you are competing, you're not trying to kill each other. If you manage to unseat your opponent, you win. If they do the same to you, they win. Common foods: wheat and bread. Protein is scarce but important, with a lot more protein going to the government. If you're a civilian, you make do with eggs, peanuts, a little bit of fish and meat. So steamed bread buns, ground wheat prepared into porridge, and dumplings, very popular. And after work and training, they've got leisure time. Gambling with cards and dice, wrestling, horse riding, practicing archery. These are military skills, but they're also practiced for fun by people. Trick shooting, steeple riding, they basically are entertainment for these people. They've built very military-related skills in this. So there aren't any major holidays, so we can say. Military parades are very important. But basically, if you're in a year, it's going to be measured by the government branch that you're dealing with at the time. And there are 3 of them: the Bureau of Assessments, the Judicial Magistrate, and Inspectors of Confirmation. Basically, whoever's showing up and dealing with you at the time tells you what time of year it is. The Bureau of Assessments, taxes. Basically, you pay taxes. If you're working class, you can't do it by coin. If you're a hunter, farmer, fisher, you pay some of your catch and the supplies to the government. Laborers basically will have taxes remitted from their pay. The Judicial Magistrate, they uphold the law. At the highest level, judges examine cases for legal merit and bring more interesting, necessary points to the royal heirs to determine what becomes law. Senior judges debate mid-levels. The mid-levels basically look at lower levels, and local judges are the lowest level, which tend to hear the cases. Most cities will have a judge in a particular district that looks after it throughout the year, but if you're going into a rural area, there will be judges that travel as circuit, basically visiting various places. They travel a portion of the state. They have a group of military bailiffs with them. They they go to an area, like a small village, small town. They take up lodging in a state house or inn for a few nights. And during that time, if there's criminals waiting for sentencing, they'll hear arguments from government officials. They'll look into it. They'll hear arguments from government officials regarding civil matters and any petitions from citizens. You know, it's a traveling judge. The inspectors of confirmation, well, they check that goods and services are of an expected quality. There's a common saying attributed to the inspectors: if you make 9 good arrows and 1 bad, throw them all out. Both military and civil governments operate on large-scale quantity control and considered extremely important. Food must be edible. Counter substitute meats not sold. Basically, goods have to be of the same quality. They don't have to be excellent quality. They just have to be the same. So, there's a lot of praise that people put to the inspectors on one side, But on the other, they kind of curse them out because it's great to have clean food, reliable goods, but, you have the added pressure of and difficulty, if you're on the poorer side, of inspections. So farmers must take extra care of the grain they sell, crafters must advertise their wares cautiously, and this inspection system favors larger merchants. A common idiom in Lingshen is forged metal makes strong spears. Refining something makes it stronger. So there's a swath of land in the country's center known as the battle forges, where the military has its heavy development and training. Weapons are inspected, stored, and distributed, siege engines are constructed, and the practicing of classical art war, grappling, spearfighting, archery, are common for every soldier. Officers have the horseback law, swordplay, mounted artillery. Lots of training, lots of sight. Battle forges are a proving ground for this military. It's got a lot of military academies, siege engineering colleges. The siege engineering colleges develop physics, math, and navigation, and other sciences which have other applications, military first, and their innovations do go to the people and help them out. They do have non-war applications. It's just that their true focus is basically perfecting weapons. It's just that, that side effect of, oh, I got this really cool weapon. I can also do something with this that helps the people. Awesome. Relationship is important. Family, partnerships, community. If you speak about relationship with another person, does it make you strong? The best answer is yes. And a common way to express the sentiment is, what makes you strong? The responders then invited in details to basically talk about it. Now, before we end today, we have to talk about terracotta soldiers. Birthed out of the cradle of immortality. We talked about the necromancer in charge about it, but we've got to talk about this, which is an important part of their culture. It's been part of their military strategy. They depend on these constructs. Animated spirits of the fallen Langanese soldiers. Each living soldier who falls in battle, a new construct is raised and is animated by their spirit. The process is a state secret, only known to select few. When people gossip about Lingshen, the terracotta soldiers come up frequently. They're difficult to fight, they seemingly endless amounts of them, and honestly speaking, it's necromancy. It's kind of a feared magic in a lot of ways. It's just magic that kind of fits on the forbidden in a lot of ways, or regulated. So yeah. Even soldiers that retired from service can be reanimated. Those who serve Lingshen with pride get the opportunity to become terracotta soldier. Becoming a terracotta soldier is a worthy goal. Even injured or elderly can be used to the nation once again. Around the cradle, there are hundreds of quarries that gather the clay to provide them. The cradle itself is a long series of long buildings clustered together, each one hundreds of terracotta soldiers being formed by craftspeople from raw clay. They look alike, if not identical at first, similar in shape and form. They're separated by ancestry, so they're large buildings for humans, others filled with elves, kitsune, tengu, and more. Each wears a uniform or armor of the military, and a standard arm of Lingzenese shoulders, all rendered in clay. When the crafts are done, enchanters take over, casting protective spells to keep the clay subtle, and allow the spirit to animate to give the soldier they had an appearance of what they were in life. The process, unknown, and only most senior workers know basically what's deep below them, the magical repository, where the souls of the fallen go to. This horrible necromancer, well, it's a necromancer. The old worm. Down there, researching. Keeping the army going. So that's Lingshen. Yeah. An interesting nation in Tian Xia, to say the least. A nation of warriors who are turning to constructs in a lot of ways. The Terracotta Army is a fearsome thing, but it could be a ticking time bomb in a lot of ways. Yes, there's loyalty in the soldiers, but think about the things that we've heard about. The necromancer that's behind it, the souls that go missing, and of course, Construct King who's returned. When he announces himself, What will this do? What divides will this happen? Will the Terracotta armies support him? And will he attempt to bring back Lung Wa? Certainly I don't think any of the other nations nearby to him will accept such. Lung Wa was not great. There's a lot of reasons a lot of people have suffered. And a lot of times these successor states have had difficulty returning. So Lingshen is in a very interesting situation. One of the 3 cores of Lung Wa, the military. And his strength is impressive. We may see more in the future. We may not. Hard to say sometimes. But Lingshen, for now, remains. It's very interesting. I did hope you enjoyed joining me today, learning all about Lingshen. It was definitely a fun one to talk about. The Terracotta army is definitely got this kind of like... It connects to a lot of like historical things for us. Hey, we have the Terracotta army that was discovered for us. This one is truly animated with the souls of the dead. A magical version of that entire thing that's in part of our world history. It's an interesting connections, and there's a lot of interesting storytelling and elements that are here that I hope that we get to explore in the future. Anyway, please check out the rest of my stuff whether you're going on the Twitch side or on the YouTube side. If you're over on YouTube, check out more videos. If you're on Twitch, check out the YouTube side. My schedule for releasing things goes up online on my social medias. That tells you when I'm uploading stuff over on the YouTube side or when I'm live over on Twitch, which is either recording some of these videos, doing some live plays of tabletop games, discussing Tabletop Saturday at 6. We'll be talking about new computer discussions, and maybe some gaming if you want to check that out and hang out and chat about some of these other things. There's a lot of questions there. Anyway, my social media, which has updates on this schedule, and also other random things like tactics. That's my Discord, Blue Sky, X/Twitter, and of course, community part of my YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed today. I'm going to get going, hang out on Twitch a little bit more. Remember to check out more of my stuff. Remember to do that like and subscribe and ring the bell. Let me know about what you think about Lingshen. Would you have a character from here? What would your character do in this nation? Or what kind of adventures do you think you could run here? What kind of stories would you tell? Let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time, I bid all of you out there a deep and wonderful farewell.